it's just an awkward, like constant, changing. Like, I'd rather just have a tape measure.
Right.
I'd wear clogs to a tournament if I had to, like I don't care. Like the thing, I don't. You love shoes. That's the difference. You love shoes so much.
After his reawakening, the Lion should lead the Imperium instead of Guiliiman.
See, this is, how much I love the heresy, so I strongly agree. And I'll tell you why once I've seen your decision.
Do you know what? This is really difficult for me because...
You love Guiliiman.
No, I don't.
Wow. So why are you backing him? Lionel Johnson for 41st.
I'm going to go with just agree.
Okay, so my reason is, so when we look at like the story and everything, Guilliman's always looked up to the Lion. Right. So a lot of his...
Is that because he's taller? Like you look up to me in that respect?
Yeah, like you're 7 foot and I'm 6'7", so naturally that just happens.
Just a little bit, isn't it?
Only
smidge,
slightly.
Just a little tiny bit, yeah.
But so in the backstory, the codex and everything is like based off of like essentially a lot of how the Lion is a tactician, and I think that naturally...
Is that because he was in Game of Thrones?
No, he's not that character.
Oh,
he's not Mr.
right.
Lannister, whatever his name is.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But he uses that, and obviously then that's how the Codex is made, and obviously a lot of how the Imperium works is from that. So by that logic, why would you want the imitator when you actually could just have the guy?
The OG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I'd have him.
So this is...
I'd vote for him.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't actually know a huge amount. The books that I've read of the heresy, and I've actually read quite a lot of books from the heresy.
I just listen to them. I just smash them out.
Yeah. I haven't actually listened to many that involve either the Ultramarines or the Dark Angels.
So
I've listened to the first 5 books, which are mainly chaos focused.
Yeah.
I've listened to all the White Scars books, all the Blood Angel books, and obviously I've listened to the Siege of Terror.
Yeah.
Neither of which, these two, are anywhere to be seen.
No.
They're both late.
No, I do know, and I don't think you could actually manage the Imperium if you are late.
Exactly.
But that's why I'd still have Lionel Johnson, because he's also late.
Well,
So,
at least Corswain from the Dark Angel at least rocks up at some point.
I think as well, the other thing that you could argue with the Dark Angels in a thematic sense is that Lionel Johnson has so much to prove because of how his Legion went. Like the fall and everything that happened on Caliban. Like, even in the quotes that GW have released in his new story arc.
I am looking forward to reading his new book.
I am. I don't read a lot of books, but I am actually looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But I like this idea that he's like a disgraced, dishonored because of everything that happened that didn't involve him.
Right.
But he sees these were supposed to be a perfect Legion. They're the first. And they are the ones that half of them have gone AWOL and half of them, Caliban got destroyed nearly, the Rock and all that.
Yeah.
And I actually think that if he was to lead the Imperium, he has so much to prove.
Yeah, but John Wick's in his army.
Yeah. It's what we decided that Cypher's John Wick basically. So but yeah, I think the Lion should lead the Imperium.
But you could also argue that. So the only reason I wouldn't agree is because I think the Lion is slightly cooler than Guilliman. So that's the only reason.
Well, the Lion is awesome, isn't he?
He's cool.
There's one person I'd have lead the Imperium that isn't either of those names, though.
Okay, say it. Ready? 3.
Vulcan.
Oh, no. You're so wrong.
Because
Sanguinius.
Vulcan can't die.
True.
So that means there would never be a problem.
Although I would go for Sanguinius.
Yeah. It'd be pretty awkward trying to dig him up.
Yeah, I mean, even Horace says that the only Primarch, the only one of his...
been the War Master.
Yeah, that's the only brother he would have said, yeah, okay, I agree.
Yeah.
Whereas he says that if any of the other Primarchs were elevated to War Master over Horace, he would have been offended. But not with Sanguinius. So I think...
Dawn as well has a bit of a shout, but only because I doubt the Siege of Terror would have really happened, because that place would have been built like Fort Knox.
So that's the thing. And Horace even says about Dawn, he said, he's maybe not as as imaginative, but he does say about Dawn that if he was the one laying the siege instead of Perturabo, he would have laid claim to Terra so much sooner.
Yeah.
And I think seeing how Dawn manages the whole Siege of Terra, essentially 20 chapters down compared to the Chaos lads who have got them all, because old, Lion and Guiliiman are too late. I think he's shown that he's got a huge amount of resources there and an incredible tactician, but the only thing you might argue for Guiliiman being maybe the reason why he should stay is
He was the first there.
He was the first there. He's got more experience. He's got more, maybe in, how many 1,000 years' time, the Lion is seeing how the Imperium works. Yeah. Guilliman's kind of got it down. Yeah. And he's also elevated Dante to the position that he's in, and Dante is the boy, so he knows stuff.
So I like the idea of Guiliiman being the leader. And I also was a big agreement when he came back to be the first one back, because it made a lot of sense, because he essentially then got to pick up from where he left off, because he was already trying to do it all before the big fight with Fulgrim. But I just think that, like I said, the only reasoning for this is just because if half of the codex and everything and a lot of what Guiliiman preaches is the Lion, why would you not just have him? But I think then we also have to look at it from, is a leader just about fighting, or is it about being a role model, a beacon, an icon, something to look at?
I mean, I could have got this completely wrong, so apologies, chat, if I have, or comments, but I was always under the impression the Ultramarines had the largest civilization.
They do, I'm pretty sure.
And
Ultramar?
Yeah, so that being said, if you need to control the entire Imperium, you don't need to be the best on the battlefield.
No.
Like Dawn, for example, didn't need to be the best on the battlefield. No. He had Sigismund doing his work.
Yeah.
He just goes in. So you don't need to lead the Imperium, you need to be the best leader.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be the best warrior. And I think those two distinctions,
I think
the Lion might be able to lead from example.
Yeah, I think this goes here if we go into like a purely his mindset now, because obviously, like I said, with his Legion being shattered essentially, and everything he's feeling and all that, you then could argue, is he still the same? Does he still have the same prowess? Is he still? Is he not worried?
Also, if the Lion's got a point to prove, that also makes him slightly potentially irrational at points.
Yeah.
It might also mean he's kind of on a knife edge of like that kind of win at all cost mentality. Whereas Guiliiman might be more balanced and fair. And I think we stick with Guiliiman for now.
Anyway. And he brings 30 Desolation Marines.
Exactly.
He win at all costs. Yeah.
Next question.
When going to a 5-round event, I would rather forget my comfiest shoes than forget my tape measure.
I'd rather forget my comfiest shoes than my tape measure.
I'd rather forget my comfiest shoes than my tape measure.
Ready? 3,
I would
2.
Sorry, I would rather. Yeah, okay, right.
3, 2, 1.
Now, this is the thing. Flooring. Is it a gymnasium?
You don't know. That's the point.
But so
you don't
still
know.
This.
Why?
Because imagine having to ask your opponent every game, can I borrow a tape measure? It's just an awkward, like, constant, changing. Like, I'd rather just have a tape measure.
Right.
I'd wear clogs to a tournament if I had to, like, I don't care. Like, the thing, I don't, you love shoes. That's the difference. You love shoes so much.
But, so what? Hang on a minute. Let's just hold this right back a minute. Does that mean I'm not wearing shoes if I've forgotten them?
No, you're just wearing like standard issue. What do you mean? Like, I don't know. Like, are you wearing uncomfy shoes?
Well, why would I buy uncomfy shoes? That's just like a ridiculous.
Exactly. So this is why I'm like, I'd rather rather have them.
So I'm either wearing comfortable shoes,
or nothing,
or I'm wearing nothing. So that's why if I've forgotten my comfortable shoes, why would I buy an uncomfortable pair? That's just ridiculous.
It's just the thing is with shoes, right?
It's become a real shoe debate.
But me, I've just got the same pair of shoes in different colours, other than my going out shoes, and that's about it.
I could probably just buy another tape measure. I mean, if we're at Warhammer World, I'll just go and buy a tape measure.
Okay, yeah, again, this is what I mean, but you don't know that.
I know.
If you don't know what the flooring's like, you don't know if you're where you are, okay? So...
Most garages that I could have drove past, you know, they've got those little offers on, like you can buy a torch and a pair of gloves and a tape measure for £5. I could just get that combo deal.
Go to Subway, ask for a foot-long sandwich.
And just use that.
And just go, there you go. All you ever need to measure in feet
is get your foot long out.
Also, half the time people just don't measure properly anyway.
So... over there.
No, because it's still the awkwardness of having to ask my opponent every game. I can say.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
We'll have to move on.
Next question.
Next question.